Hi, this is New Time on Silkway TV channel. We bring you the most notable news and important events that happened throughout this week in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. More details on politics, economy, social and cultural life, with opinions from some of the most recognizable experts in Kazakhstan and around the world. I am Yurgali Ramazanulu, and this is what you will see today. The president of the Islamic Republic of Iran has arrived in Kazakhstan on an official visit. What priorities are shaping the agenda in Astana? As the year comes to a close, our newsroom reflects on a remarkably productive period of cooperation between Central Asia and China. What breakthrough defined the partnership and what momentum will carry it into the coming year? Dimash Qudaibergen had been appointed a global goodwill ambassador for the International Organization for Migration. How will his new UN mandate elevate the impact of his humanitarian work? Iran is emerging as one of Kazakhstan's key partners in the Middle East, with bilateral trade surging by 40% in just a year. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian paid his first official visit to Astana, where the two leaders discussed everything from new transit corridors to cooperation within international organizations. Kazakh businesses, meanwhile, will gain new opportunities to supply goods to African markets, thanks to several agreements signed during the Kazakhstan-Iran Business Forum. The outcome of the bilateral and expanded talks in the next report. The Caspian Sea connects our two nations. For Kazakhstan, Iran is both a close neighbor and a reliable partner in the Middle East. President Tokayev received his Iranian counterpart, Masoud Pezeshkian, in Akorda for the first time. The talks signaled that both Kazakhstan and Iran are determined to expand cooperation in trade, the economy and investment. Kazakhstan is ready to supply Iran with goods worth at least $200 million. President Tokayev also supported the establishment of a Kazakhstan trade house in Tehran and underscored the need to accelerate the work of the Business Council and fully tap the potential of the Kazakhstan-Iran Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Айналымы жылдан жылға артып келе жатыр. Дегенмен
our bilateral trade turnover continues to grow every year, but we must pay particular attention to diversifying the trade. We should intensify cooperation in agriculture, transport and logistics, mining, healthcare and advanced technologies. I'm confident that the document signed today will give powerful boosts to the further development of our political and economic partnership.
Саяси және экономикалық алыс-берісті дамытуға тың серпін береді деп мен сенемін.
President Pezeshkian noted that Iran-Kazakhstan relations have deep historical roots dating back to the era of the Great Silk Road.
Cooperation with our country is of great importance to us. We have established close interaction at the intergovernmental and interagency levels. Our positions coincide on many international and regional issues. We work closely within the Eurasian Economic Union, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Our shared task is to strengthen this cooperation. Today, our bilateral trade has increased by 40%, an impressive result. We previously agreed to raise mutual trade to $3 billion. And we will make every effort to achieve this goal.
Since the beginning of the year, Iran has invested almost $18 million in Kazakhstan's economy. Iranian entrepreneurs are actively implementing projects in the country, including a cheese factory in the Almaty region and a leather processing plant in the West Kazakhstan region.
Қазақстанда 700-ге жуық Иран компаниясы бар. Бұл компаниялар негізінен
Around 700 Iranian companies are operating successfully in Kazakhstan, mainly in industry, infrastructure and agriculture. Kazakh businesses in turn are actively investing in Iran, implementing projects in mining, transport and logistics, and food production. As a reliable partner, Kazakhstan remains committed to supporting foreign investors and creating favorable conditions for them. In this regard, we invite Iranian companies to participate in major long-term projects.
Иран компанияларын ұзақ мерзімге арналған ірі жобаларға атсалысуға шақырамын.
The two sides also aim to further develop the potential of the North-South transport corridor. and the Kazakhstan-Turkmenistan-Iran railway route. Cargo volumes on these routes have already grown by 53% compared to last year. The presidents also discussed diversifying transit pathways, including joint development of port infrastructure on the Caspian Sea. Regional cooperation is also expanding. President Tokayev supported Iranian business proposals to establish a joint free economic zone in the Mangistau region. He noted that the project would allow Kazakhstan to produce finished goods from Iranian raw materials and boost exports across the region. International issues also featured prominently in the dialogue.
Қарулы қақтығыстардың санкциялық қысымдар мен сауда соғыстарының
The two sides expressed concern over the escalation of armed conflicts, increasing sanctions pressure and growing trade tensions. We discussed the decline in trust in international organizations. Our countries agreed on the need to strengthen the role of the United Nations, strictly adhere to its charter and resolutions, uphold international law, and remain committed to the principles of justice. The importance of resolving all conflicts and disputes through peaceful diplomatic means was underscored. Kazakhstan and Iran will continue to cooperate within international organizations going forward.
Қазақстан мен Иран халықаралық ұйымдар аясындағы ықпалдастығын алдағы уақытта да жалғастыра береді.
Kazakhstan and Iran signed a broad package of agreements following today's talks. The documents span criminal justice cooperation, transport and logistics, cultural exchange, healthcare, and intellectual property, as well as expanded collaboration between the two countries' foreign ministers.
Мәдениет және ақпарат министрі және Иран Ислам Республикасының мәдениет және исламдық бағдар министрі мәдениет саласындағы ведомстволық бағдарламамен алмасады.
While high-level political talks were underway in Akorda, hundreds of entrepreneurs from both countries convened at the Kazakhstan-Iran Business Forum. The first tangible outcomes are already visible. One agreement envisions a new transport corridor zone linking key Kazakh hubs with Iranian ports. This route will give Kazakhstan access to markets that were previously out of reach, including North Africa, with goods traveling by rail through Turkmenistan and Iran, before heading straight to end destinations. The corridor has the potential to become a major breakthrough for Kazakh exports and expand their global reach.
Сейчас мы предлагаем хорошие услуги через Иран на Турцию.
Currently, we offer reliable shipping services via Iran to Turkey and from there to Europe. Through Iran via the Persian Gulf port of the Bandar Abbas, goods can reach the Gulf countries, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. We have purchased our own wagons here so we can ship directly from Kazakhstan to Bandar Abbas port and then load containers for Africa, East Asia, Indonesia and Sri Lanka.
Контейнер на Африку, на страны Восточной Азии, Индонезии, Шри-Ланки.
Later, Presidents Tokayev and Pezeshkian joined the business forum, unveiling several new initiatives. The head of our state announced the creation of a Kazakhstan-Iran shipping consortium for the Caspian Sea and proposed hosting the 4th Caspian Economic Forum within the next 2 years. Plans also include building a transport and logistics terminal at Iran's Shahid Rajai port and establishing partnerships with the ports of Bandar Abbas and Chabahar, steps that would give Kazakhstan more direct access to global markets. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev also called for deeper cooperation in agriculture, while Masoud Pezeshkian outlined Iran's priorities for expanding economic ties. A new storage facility for agricultural products will be built in the port of Aktau. An export park for Iranian construction materials will open in Almaty, and both countries signaled readiness to simplify business visas. The two sides also agreed to establish a joint trade council. Yergali Ramazanule, New Time. Against the backdrop of growing ties between Kazakhstan and Iran, we sat down for an in-depth conversation with the president, Masoud Pezeshkian, to discuss the prospects for trade, the implications of Iran's engagement with the Eurasian Economic Union, and the evolving role of both nations in maintaining stability across a rapidly changing region. For a deeper look at this regional partnership and the perspectives driving the region's future, watch the exclusive interview. The full version is always available on our YouTube channel. Simply scan the QR code below to learn more, only on Silkway TV. We are meeting here in Astana during your official visit. One of the first questions is, Mr. President, Kazakhstan and Iran have shown a notable increase in trade, but the target of $3 billion has not yet been reached. What could help accelerate progress toward this goal?
At the initial stage, the most important task is to strengthen the ties between our countries so that we can build the kind of relationship needed to achieve the stated objectives. Later, as political contacts expand and mutual understanding deepens, the next natural step will be simplification of the visa regime. This will allow citizens of both countries to interact freely in political, economic, scientific, and cultural and security fields. This approach creates the basis for a wide range of joint action that will bring solid results.
To
follow up further, Iran is preparing to join the EA-EU free trade zone. What new opportunities will this open for Kazakhstan and Iran? Now that we have entered the Eurasian Observer format, it has secured our presence within the space. The economic environment of the Eurasia opens opportunities both for our countries and for all participants in this format. Iran has a large market, almost 90 million people, which creates broad prospects for Kazakhstan and naturally for Iran. Kazakhstan and broader Eurasian region also offer favorable conditions for expanding economic exchanges. By removing tariff barriers, such platform becomes an effective tool for entrepreneurs, industrial companies and producers, facilitating cooperation and strengthening mutual support. In your view, what role does Kazakhstan play in ensuring stability and international security? Kazakhstan is undergoing a period of rapid development that could become an important crossroads between East and West, North and South. Such rapid growth allows the strengthening of cultural, scientific, artistic, and social political interaction. If we expand routes and deepen cooperation, Kazakhstan can become a cultural hub of the region. This will bring nations' perspective closer together, reinforce stability, and accelerate development. Our entrepreneurs, investors, and scientists and cultural figures will be able to build connections much more easily. I'm convinced that Kazakhstan, Iran, and the countries of the region are in no way behind those who have advanced further, and we can help one another to reach the new heights. On which international platforms, such as the SEO, SICA, or the OIC, do you see the greatest potential for strengthening cooperation between our countries? Where do you see a deeper engagement with Kazakhstan and more shared views in addressing international issues? Today we face particular challenges, financial and banking ties. We need to simplify these mechanisms so that entrepreneurs can work freely. Within BRICS, discussions are underway on the creation of a bank that would allow member states to conduct economic operations within a common currency system. The Eurasian format removes tariff barriers, ensuring the free movement of goods. Islamic mechanisms of cooperation also create broad opportunities, unity, cohesion, and a large market of Muslim countries. It is important to direct all these instruments in the right way toward development and the expansion of cooperation. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev spoke by phone with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to discuss the future of relations between the two countries. The leaders reaffirmed their shared commitment to deepening political dialogue and expanding economic and humanitarian cooperation. President Tokayev also invited Mahmoud Abbas to visit Astana at a time of his convenience. Palestinian leader expressed his deep appreciation for Kazakhstan's steadfast backing and noted the country's constructive role in strengthening global security. St. Petersburg is gearing up for the upcoming meeting of the Supreme Eurasian Economic Council scheduled for December 21st, with President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev in attendance. As Kazakhstan is set to take over the chairmanship of the EA-EU next year, our country will play a leading role in shaping the bloc's agenda. Ahead of the summit, the chairman of the Eurasian Economic Commission Board, Bakijan Sagentayev, updated the president on key priorities for Kazakhstan's upcoming term and on the organization's longer-term development outlook. Meanwhile, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev arrived in Ashgabat for a working visit as Turkmenistan marks the 30th anniversary of its permanent neutrality. Shortly after landing, President Tokayev held talks with Turkmen President Serdar Berdimuhamedov. During the meeting, the Kazakh president noted that each visit to the Turkmen capital is distinguished by a strong sense of hospitality and close partnership. Building on this tone of cooperation, both sides reaffirmed plans to deepen trade, strengthen economic ties, and accelerate joint projects in energy, logistics, and agriculture. In addition to the bilateral talks, President Tokayev also briefly met with Halk Maslahati chairman Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov upon arrival.
Я с большим желанием откликнулся на приглашение высшего руководства Туркменистана прибыть сюда для участия в таком очень важном мероприятии. Повестка дня.
I was very pleased to accept the invitation from Turkmenistan's top leadership to come here and take part in the important event. The agenda proposed to us is more than relevant in today's turbulent and unpredictable world, especially in the context of the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. I have no doubt that forum will be a success and will represent yet another positive contribution by Turkmenistan to global stability and, of course, the strengthening the atmosphere of friendship and cooperation in Central Asia.
Стабилизацию ситуации в глобальном масштабе, ну и, конечно же, укрепление атмосферы дружбы, сотрудничества в Центральной Азии.
At the forum in Ashgabat, marking the International Year of Peace and Trust and Turkmenistan's 30th anniversary of permanent neutrality, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev underscored that the proposals presented seek to reaffirm the enduring significance of neutrality in the 21st century. He praised Turkmenistan's initiative endorsed by the UN and noted Kazakhstan's support for the resolution as a reflection of its steadfast commitment to peace and trust in its foreign policy. President Tokayev also addressed pressing global challenges, including escalating tensions, the erosion of international law, and the urgent need for UN reform, advocating for broader constructive dialogue among member states. He reaffirmed Kazakhstan's support for international conflict resolution, citing the Abraham Accords, initiatives in the South Caucasus, and ongoing assistance to Afghanistan. Turning to regional priorities, he emphasized Central Asia's expanding economic and transport connectivity, particularly through the Trans-Caspian international transport route, while highlighting water security as a critical strategic issue, calling for cooperative measures to safeguard the Aral and Caspian seas.
В системе ООН нет специализированной структуры, сфокусированной исключительно на водных вопросах.
The UN system currently lacks a specialized structure focused exclusively on water issues. For this reason, Kazakhstan has proposed the creation of an international water organization that could consolidate the existing mandates of various UN bodies. An optimal approach would be to transform the interagency mechanism UN Water into a fully fledged UN specialized agency or organization. Implementing this initiative would fully align with the UN Sustainable Development Goals and, of course, serve the interests of entire international community. In April next year, a regional environmental summit will be held in Astana, where Kazakhstan plans to launch international consultations on establishing a global water organization. I'm sure that with shared political will, critically important water-related issues can begin to be addressed systematically rather than in fragmented manner, as in the case today.
Решаться на системной основе, а не фрагментарно, как это происходит сейчас.
As part of the forum dedicated to the International Year of Peace and Trust, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, joined by other heads of states, also took part in the solemn wreath-laying ceremony at the Monument of Neutrality. The event underscored Turkmenistan's symbolic commitment to peace and constructive cooperation, with wreaths placed at the monument's base as a gesture of shared aspirations for trust and stability across the region. This week, Central Asia witnessed a series of major developments, from large-scale regional energy cooperation to new transport agreements and long-term investments in technological education. Uzbekistan confirmed plans to begin financing the Kambarata-1 hydropower plant in Kyrgyzstan starting in 2026, while Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan moved to expand rail capacity to support growing grain and food shipments. To help us break down these key stories shaping the region, we are joined by political analyst Ozhet Shigirbayev.
Well, thank you, Irveli. It's great to be here and share some insights into these developments.
Likewise, Ozhet, so let's get to it. What stood out to you the most in Central Asia this week?
Well, these updates collectively show just how active and interconnected the region has become, especially in energy, logistics and technology. Uzbekistan plans to begin financing the construction of the Kambarata-1 hydropower plant in Kyrgyzstan in 2026. The specific terms, conditions and amounts of the funding have not yet been disclosed. In early 2023, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan agreed on the joint construction of the 1.86 gigawatt Kambarata-1 hydropower plant on the Naryn River. Kyrgyzstan will hold a 34% stake in the project, while Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan will each own 33%. According to the estimates by Uzbekistan's Ministry of Energy, the total cost of the Kambarata-1 project may reach 4.2 billion of USD. Construction of the HPP plant will take 10 years, with the first hydroelectric unit scheduled to be commissioned in just 4 years. And the total capacity is estimated at 1,860 megawatts. Overall, the project is important for the development of the energy sector in Kyrgyzstan and neighboring Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, which are located downstream. Energy security is particularly important given the growing energy shortages in the region. In addition to its importance in ensuring Kyrgyzstan's energy security, this project has already become a significant intra-regional undertaking project. It's one of the few such large-scale projects in which the Central Asian countries participate themselves. Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan have agreed to increase rail traffic to 35 pairs of trains per day. This decision was reached during meetings in Sarayagach and Tashkent, where the parties discussed the transportation of grain and food products. The sides also agreed to plan export shipments, taking into account the workload of grain terminals. Following the talks, Uzbekistan confirmed its readiness to receive at least 10 grain trains and 5 food trains daily. To avoid delays, both countries also decided to ensure round-the-clock operation of access rail lines and all related services, including on weekends and public holidays. Earlier, it was reported that Uzbek terminals had been overloaded with Kazakh grain. In 2025, Kazakhstan shipped 32% more grain than in the previous year, reaching 5.6 million tons. Over the first 11 months of 2025, the volume of cargo transportation between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan reached 28.5 million tons, showing a 16% increase compared to the same period of the last year. These agreements will help stabilize logistics chains and ensure the timely delivery of Kazakh grain to the markets of Uzbekistan and other countries. Korean Hyundai Rotem has sent the first high-speed train consisting of 7 railway cars from Changwon to Uzbekistan. These high-speed trains manufactured specifically for Uzbekistan Railways. Its arrival is expected in January-February 2026, while the remaining 5 trains based on the EMU 260 model are scheduled for the delivery throughout 2026. The trains have been specially designed for Uzbekistan's climate. They can operate reliably in high temperatures and are equipped with enhanced dust protection systems. Kazakhstan is likewise modernizing its passenger rolling stock also. In 2025, Kazakhstan Temiroly acquired 175 new passenger cars, and the full renewal program is expected to be completed by 2030. In parallel, 124 railway stations across the country are undergoing modernization, with 46 of them planned for the completion by the end of 2025. Taken together, with ongoing projects to build the new highways and railways, the launch of additional air routes, and the expansion of logistic infrastructure, these initiatives reflect a broader regional trend, the creation of favorable conditions for seamless cargo transit and strengthened transport connectivity across Central Asia. President of Uzbekistan, Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, in his speech on the occasion of the Day of Agricultural Workers, outlined the country's plans for agricultural modernization. Uzbekistan will establish an Academy of Agricultural Sciences to ensure full integration between science, education and production. The Academy will be responsible for advancing fundamental and applied research in the agricultural sphere. The government also intends to attract qualified agronomists from Netherlands, Spain, Italy, Turkey and China to provide the regular training for local farmers and deckhands. In addition, 200 leading cotton and grain farmers, 200 advanced horticultural and vegetable producers, and 100 of the most active exporters will be sent for training in China, Turkey, the Netherlands and France. All travel and accommodation expenses will be fully covered by the state. A school of innovation agriculture will also be established in Mirzakul, a key cotton-growing district, where 1,000 farmers from across the country will undergo the training. Thus, Uzbekistan aims to systematically strengthen the human and scientific and technical capacity of its agricultural sector, creating institutional conditions for the industry's modernization. These measures are designed to improve agricultural efficiency, boost export potential, and accelerate innovation across the agri-food sector. In 2026, Kazakhstan plans to award 20 grants under the Bolashek program for training specialists in the nuclear industry, as was reported by the Agency for Atomic Energy. Kazakhstanis will be able to study abroad through grants that include international internships, as well as master's and doctoral programs at leading foreign universities. In the future, such grants will be provided on the annual basis. The program is aimed at training engineers and scientific professionals who will contribute to the development of nuclear energy in Kazakhstan. At the end of November, Hakim of Almaty region, Mr. Marat Sultangaziev, also noted that the construction of a nuclear power plant would create jobs even for those not directly connected with the energy sector. The launch of the program is an important step in strengthening scientific and technical potential and creating a strong human resource base for Kazakhstan's future nuclear energy sector. Overall, this lays the groundwork for the country's future technological modernization. And that's all from my part. Yergali, giving floor back to you.
Thank you, Ozhet, and we continue. While American engagement with the Central Asian states has intensified, driven by interests in critical minerals, transportation corridors and energy resources, the region continues to navigate strong competition from its long-standing international partners. This week, analysts in Washington, D.C. gathered to discuss a pivotal moment for U.S.-Central Asian relations, highlighting how the agreements reached at the C5+1 summit and Kazakhstan's inclusion in the Abraham Accords could reshape the regional balance. Andrew Kuchins, a senior fellow at the Center for the National Interests and a participant in the gathering, noted that Kazakhstan and the wider region are increasingly aware of the U.S. interests, and that while governments may plan and advise on policy, in reality, decisions often respond to emerging opportunities and challenges.
Kazakhstan is senses, well as the region more broadly, the greater interest on the part of the Trump administration in engaging with Central Asia. And I think there'll be we all can have policies and plans in our head and advise people to do things, but usually in policy we're kind of reacting to what we see as crises or new opportunities. Kazakhstan was on the forefront of exercising a multi-vector foreign policy, and this is absolutely critical when you're in the geographic position that Kazakhstan is.
Kazakhstan has turned its geographic constraints into strategic advantages, says Chinese analyst Shen Shiwei. Indeed, 2025 has been a remarkable year for Kazakh diplomacy. President Tokayev has deepened ties with China, welcomed leaders from Central Asia, and advanced both bilateral and multilateral initiatives. From expanding trade under the Belt and Road Initiative to strengthening regional cooperation frameworks, these efforts are not just political gestures. They are helping to reshape Kazakhstan's role as a bridge between major powers. More on this in our following report. 2025 has been one of the most productive years for Kazakh diplomacy. President Tokayev has traveled across Central Asia, China and Europe, while Astana has hosted numerous high-level delegations. These visits produced concrete outcomes: new transport corridors, expanded trade, industrial cooperation and fresh investments. Engagement with Kazakhstan's closest partners, the Central Asian states and China, has been especially impactful, delivering measurable results for the national economy. It is this strategic multi-vector approach that analysts say is transforming Kazakhstan from a landlocked nation into a land-linked hub.
What we have seen from the policy adopted by Kazakhstan, that it has proved a remarkable capacity in this regard, especially where we have seen the Kazakhstan's unique geopolitical status and also its pragmatic diplomacy. We know Kazakhstan is the world's largest landlocked country, but now it becomes a land-linked country of the Eurasia. Actually, through this kind of balanced diplomacy, Kazakhstan has turned these geographic constraints into advantages by bridging major powers. For example, when the cooperation with China, the Kazakhstan is a top trading partner, and also with a lot of cooperation under the BRI, Kazakhstan's economy has flourished.
This year's major visits illustrate this shift clearly. In April, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev met Central Asian and EU leaders in Samarkand, advancing connectivity, climate security and trade. His August talks in Bishkek added new momentum to cross-border energy and transport cooperation. And the president's official visit to China in late August brought a series of industrial agreements, from renewable energy and logistics to nuclear cooperation and digital technology. These developments highlight the depth of strategic trust between Astana and Beijing, which continues to deliver long-term economic benefits. Experts note the personal role of our head of state in building this partnership.
President Tokayev not only can read Chinese documents directly, but also deeply understands the strategic thinking, the Chinese government's thinking, and the cultural context behind China's decisions. This has enabled the exchanges between the heads of state of the two countries to achieve a true telepathic understanding in the real sense. Over the past decade or so, the strategic partnership between the two countries has been evaluated by President Xi Jinping as unique. And the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation, President Tokayev delivered a speech in Chinese, clearly stating that Kazakhstan was the first country to propose the joint construction of the Belt and Road Initiative and has firmly supported and actively participated in it since day one.
A decade ago, regular dialogue among Central Asian leaders was rare. Today, regional cooperation has reached record highs. Total trade within and around the region has surged to $225 billion, while intra-regional trade has more than doubled to over $11 billion. Joint investments are rising steadily at around 9% annually, reflecting a shared commitment to industrial development. President Tokayev's 2025 engagement, from the Samarkand EUCA summit to the consultative meeting in Tashkent, played a key role in accelerating this integration. Experts note that Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, as the biggest economies in the region, remain at the core of this transformation.
Bilateral trade reached $4.3 billion last year, and the two countries account for 57% of all intra-regional trade. More than 6,500 joint ventures and over $8 billion in co-investment signal a shift from commodity exchange to industrial cooperation in machinery, chemicals, energy, and agriculture. In 2025 alone, 7 major industrial projects worth over $1.2 billion were launched between two countries. Kazakhstan is also deepening complementary supply chains and trade economic cooperation with Kyrgyzstan and Turkmenistan, while maintaining transit energy links with Tajikistan.
These trends were clearly visible during Kassym-Jomart Tokayev's November state visit to Tashkent, where the two countries launched new industrial projects and expanded cooperation in machinery, chemicals, energy and agriculture. By deepening these links, Central Asia is gradually emerging as a cohesive investment-attractive market, and this year the region reached a new milestone, expanding cooperation beyond Central Asia itself.
During the meeting, I think two important things happened. And then last year, it was a bit difficult to imagine those things to happen. The first one was the acceptance of Azerbaijan to the format of consultative meetings as a full member. To me, it is a good sign because Azerbaijan is a natural partner for Central Asian countries. It is a natural hub when it comes to transportation, when it comes to energy, and then other things. The second thing that happened during the summit was a proposal by the Uzbek president to transform consultative meetings to the community of Central Asian countries. Yeah? So kind of not consultative meeting, which is very light, very informal kind of term, a concept, to something more meaningful, deeper, which is community.
Kassym-Jomart Tokayev's support for broadening the regional format reflects a push toward more structured long-term cooperation. This approach is anchored not only in diplomacy but also in economic modernization. Kazakhstan's effort to protect investors, strengthen governance and develop an international financial center continue to attract interest from Europe, the United States and Asia. Tokayev's meetings with leaders of CNPC, Huawei and other global companies in Beijing underscored these priorities and brought new commitments to diversify Kazakhstan's economy.
Kazakhstan has been on the forefront, I think, of improving the investment environment in the country in comparison to its regional partners. I think the notion of Kazakhstan becoming an international financial center was really on the right track because it will increase the kinds of opportunities that Kazakhstan can take advantage of. So I would encourage continuing to press forward on that front in particular.
In 2025, Kazakhstan demonstrated that consistent diplomatic engagement grounded in economic pragmatism and regional solidarity delivers real measurable progress. The country's balanced foreign policy, strengthening partnerships and ambitious reform agenda are laying the foundations for sustainable long-term growth. Yergali Ramazanule, New Time. As cities around the world race to reinvent urban mobility, one technology is moving from concept to real service: air taxis. From the first autonomous routes in China to early plans here in Kazakhstan, the question now is how safe they are, how they work, and when we might see them in our cities. To learn more about this new type of transport, watch our next report.
Imagine a city where instead of taxis we're used to on streets, or rather above the streets, air taxis are in operation. And in the parking lots we know today, electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft could soon be pulling into park. We are getting remarkably close to this reality. Earlier this year, several companies in neighboring China received the country's first air operator certificates, a milestone that effectively greenlights commercial, autonomous passenger drone services. The first routes are already appearing in Guangzhou and Hefei. A pivotal moment came with the rollout of the EH216S, the world's first pilotless human-carrying eVTOL. The electric two-seater, capable of reaching speeds of up to 130 km per hour, is designed for short tourist flights. Developers note that this is only an early step toward broader urban mobility. The technology is already being tested above cities, islands, mountains, grasslands, and rivers. At this pace, what starts as a trial flight may soon become a routine commute.
eVTOLs in urban mobility, in the concept of smart cities, helps make the city more efficient, cleaner, and technologically advanced. The smart cities use the sensors, digital systems, and artificial intelligence That tools can connect this system to manage roads, traffic flow, and safety in real life.
Preset roads with intelligent navigation are what make pilotless flight possible. The aircraft follows a programmed path and adjusts its movement using onboard systems. Smart algorithms handle vertical takeoff and landing, so there is no need for special taxiways or large airports. The aircraft uses electric propulsion, which makes it safer and more environmentally friendly. Fast charging and smart battery system provide steady power during operation. Experts say that as reliability grows, such aircraft could eventually become a mass-market transport option in cities.
How safe that tools in urban environment? We can just say that it considered safe. They have multiple motors, backup system, and automated controls. So if one part fails, the aircraft can still fly safely.
Kazakhstan is also preparing for takeoff. In Alatau city, restricted with special status, and in Almaty, the air taxi project is moving forward, financed entirely through private investments. Under signed agreements, AAG intends to purchase electric aircraft from the U.S. company Joby Aviation, one of the global leaders advancing toward U.S. Federal Aviation Administration certification. The first test flights are planned for 2027, with commercial service expected to launch in 2029.
One of the key features of electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft is the ability to integrate into the urban environment through a network of vertiports that don't require runways. At this stage, AAG is working with international consultants, eVTOL manufacturers, and government agencies to apply global standards for vertiport design and construction. The company has already begun planning a test site in Alatau city.
The project cannot move forward without regulators on board. Under the leadership of Ministry of Transport, a dedicated working group has already been established and is actively operating. Earlier this month, a seminar and technical consultation were held in the capital with international experts. According to specialists, as the public becomes more familiar with the technology, a significant increase in demand is expected. Nuray Aslbek, New Time.
Earlier this week at the Astana Arena, Almaty's Kairat faced the Greek club Olympiacos in their home fixture of the Champions League group stage. Kairat came close but ultimately fell short. Still, the atmosphere was absolutely remarkable, with fans cheering until the very last minute. All the details in our next report.
For the first time in UEFA competitions, Kairat has hosted its opening at the Astana Arena. The match itself was intense and emotional. More than 19,000 fans have gathered to support their favorite ones.
The home match for the Almaty Football Club in the sixth round of the Champions League group stage was played against the Greek side Olympiacos, but not in Almaty. The game was relocated to Astana due to UEFA's temperature requirements, a decision officially approved by the international organization. Despite the freezing weather, the fans who filled the stadium kept the atmosphere warm with their energy.
Overall, the game was pretty intense. Up until the third quarter of the game, the match was actually very equal. Olympiacos couldn't do anything to us. But then at the end, of course, the fault of our defense and the problem of our players basically made a situation where we conceded a goal. But other than that, honestly, our guys were playing very well at the level of every European team. And I think that it was a good fight against the Olympiacos.
A single goal decided the outcome. In the 73rd minute, Olympiacos forward Gelson Matin scored the only goal of the match, securing a 1-0 win for the visitors. Still, Kairat goalkeeper Anerbekov repeatedly saved his team throughout the game, 8 saves in total, earning him UEFA's Player of the Match award.
First time here, the weather is very cold, but it was a very nice experience for us to live in this city and to meet the guys from here, the people. We enjoyed the game. I think it was a difficult game. We are a fan of our team, so we support our team. Okay, now we are happy.
After 6th round of the Champions League, Kairat has 1 point and currently sits in 35th place in the tournament standings. The team still has 2 matches ahead, a home match against Brugge on January 20th in Astana and the final game of the Champions League campaign on January 28th against London's Arsenal in the UK capital. Nuraya Slabek, New Time.
Dimash Qudaibergen has been appointed a Global Goodwill Ambassador for the International Organization for Migration of the United Nations. The announcement was made during the reopening ceremony of the Kazakh Hall at the Palais des Nations in Geneva. Last year, Dimash became the IOM's Regional Goodwill Ambassador, and since then he has used his global platform to advance the organization's mission, raising awareness about migrant issues, promoting integration, and taking part in fundraising initiatives. During his Stranger World Tour, which reached audiences in New York, Mexico City, London and Berlin, Dimash promoted the values of inclusivity and sustainability, encouraging concert-goers to support the IOM's humanitarian work. Through these performances, he reached more than 100,000 people worldwide, helping to expand the organization's visibility and public engagement. Addressing the distinguished audience, the newly appointed Global Goodwill Ambassador expressed his gratitude for the trust placed in him.
Throughout every campaign, every initiative, and every conversation, I have seen the impact this organization has on people facing uncertainty, displacement, and hardship. As a Global Goodwill Ambassador, I will continue advocating for people on the move and raising awareness about safe migration. I will continue to promote inclusion and resilience, and I will continue supporting your fundraising and emergency response efforts.
That's it for today. All the main news about Kazakhstan and Central Asia you can find here. More special projects about our country you can also watch on Silkway TV channel. So stay tuned and see you next week.